Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for Living Local, your lifestyle show for everything Charleston and beyond. I'm Ashley Missouri. It's Test Drive Tuesday, and we have a special one for you as we're joined by Steve Bailey. He is the tour guide here in downtown Charleston. Thanks for taking a ride with us today.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
All right, we're gonna do 4 stops on your 2-hour tour. Where are we gonna stop?
First is right here at the Four Corners of Law, Broad and Meeting Street.
What are some of the things you try to tell people about?
Well, this corner was actually named in the 1930s by a guy named Robert Ripley. Ripley's, believe it or not. And somebody was showing him around and showed him that we had a church, a historic church building over here, City Hall across the way, the original Colonial Capitol building across the way here, which is now a courthouse, but it was our state capital of South Carolina after the American Revolutionary War for about 5 years. Before it moved to Columbia, and then the U.S. Post Office. And he stopped and said, gosh, this is the Four Corners of Law. And he had to explain that it's city law, state law, federal law, and then God's law over here.
Oh,
so you can get married.
Gotcha. Because I never knew how the church kind of factored into that.
And the way I remember, a little jingle is you could get married, check your mail, pay your taxes, go to jail.
Love that.
How about that?
That's fantastic. All right, where's stop number 2?
Why don't we go up to Church Street and we'll stop at in front of the Hayward Washington house.
All righty.
I'll give you that direction. It's 87 Church Street.
All right, so let's just talk about what you tell your folks about this.
The Hayward Washington house. This was built in 1772. It was built for Thomas Hayward Jr. He's one of our signers of the Declaration of Independence. So this is kind of unique in America that we actually have a house that's still standing that a signer of the Declaration of Independence lived in. It's called the Hayward Washington house because President Washington visited Charleston in May of 1791. He wanted a house he could rent. He did not want to owe anybody any favors by staying at their house for free. Isn't that unusual for a politician?
I mean, yeah.
And he wanted, his selfish part, wanted the house all to himself. And it was perfect for me because Thomas Hayward Jr. is at Whitehall Plantation, 25,000 acres of rice fields near Beaufort. So he had the house all to himself. White Point Gardens is our first park, but from here, and if we really would have to get up on the high battery wall, which is built in the early 1800s, and we could see Sullivan's Island, where the Battle of Sullivan's Island took place this date in 1776, June 28th.
I love it.
And we defeated the British Navy, or we drove them back, so it's one of the first significant victories of the American Revolutionary War was right here. Of everywhere, of all the 13 colonies, this was a pretty significant victory. There were a lot of skirmishes going on, but this was a big battle. This is Rainbow Road to our left. These are built as early as 1740 to 1790. And they're commercial downstairs, directly relating to the waterfront across the street, and the merchants would live upstairs. They didn't get the name until the 1930s when they were renovated. A lady named Susan Pringle Frost, who actually starts our Preservation Society, is the first female realtor in South Carolina. And she buys these. They're run down, dilapidated, kind of like over by the Hayward Washington house. And
I'm just going to turn back over here.
And she buys a few with her sister, and then she sells some. And her friends fix them up. And the first lady that finishes hers is a lady named Dorothy Legg, and she paints hers pink. And everybody's kind of like, what's that? She said, well, it's pastel. Sun comes up in the east, it bakes on the house. It's going to keep the rooms cool. So everybody painted their houses. Now, Susan Pringle Frost at the time is also really promoting to the city, we've got to get preservation laws in the books. And they finish painting their houses. She gets the preservation laws in the books. Can't change the color. Now, I don't think anybody told them that they can't change color, but I think that's kind of ironic that she's working so hard to make money as a realtor, but she's working so hard to save buildings from being demolished that she kind of paints herself in a corner, so to speak.
Boom, boom. I love that. I love that.
Unintended. That actually fell out my mouth about 2 months ago on a tour, and I went,
You're like,
and everybody started laughing. And I said, oh, that's
I like
good.
The sound of that.
Yeah.
All right, well, Steve, thank you so much for taking us around.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. And if be a tourist in your own town.
I know, I need to.
Take a walking tour. Take a walking tour.
We definitely will catch back up with you.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.